So the question is, if a child is surrounded by pure chaos, should we be surprised when that's exactly what they cause later in life? And is it possible for someone to be so relatable and charismatic that their followers will hang on to their every word? And will those same people follow orders when they're told to commit a horrific act? These are just some of the themes I plan to touch on during today's story. And as usual, some of the details can get a bit intense, so viewer discretion is advised. If you have them available, it's time to throw on those headphones. And I think the meeting's about to start now, so let's listen in.
Gather round, world got you feeling so done. Bet they call you crazy too, takes one to know one. I guess we're not so different and this is the result. But when people get behind it, they love calling it a cult. But this religion, this belief, shows what's hidden, what's beneath. Every smile, there's a heart so cold, just shiver in your seat. Cause we all got inner demons, darker thoughts that's so uncanny. But here that's all accepted, so welcome to the family. Wow, this crowd has got so big, no longer keeping it discreet. Make your home in Death Valley, perfect place for us to meet. Whatever grief that made you come, I'm here to offer some relief. So let me tell you about myself, I'll keep the introduction brief. Love is California sunshine, but Cincinnati made me. Name is Charles, I'm the product when an addict has a baby. Maybe she was in hell on earth, devil told her come and play, so she escaped at 15. My mom became a runaway. Freedom was a treasure, making everything appear greater. Lost inside the pleasure, ends up having me a year later. Seems to get impossible, like motherhood's an obstacle. She's just a child, now we're raising one, make her responsible. It's really hard, here we are, clearly far-fetched. Could she find resolve and pull it off? Yeah, that is a stretch. So the stress had her drinking, became more than just a hobby. She did anything for money, if they pay she sold her body. This is mommy, they say for family we don't get to choose. And who's to say what you would do unless you stepping in those shoes? I'm not lying, true story, this even got on the news. She would try to barter me away for a bottle of booze. Just in and out of jail, she got really good at self-swapping. When she's out, without a doubt, we're only just motel hopping. Enough was shown, start to feel a little grown. That's when I dipped, because I knew I had to get it on my own. And that was by any means, was nothing like other teens would only burst on the scene to learn it's worse than it seems. Didn't have, so I would take. Hard to say that I regret when you drive a stolen car. Now that's a ride you won't forget. Society can be upset, to its rules I'm never bound. Once I learned that crime would pay, when my calling came around. World will gamble with your life, it likes you better when you're down. That's why I ran a whole casino, but I kept it underground. Even love felt like a game, but I would try to roll the dice. Couldn't seem to keep a wife, lost her once, lost her twice. Even though we had a kid, I learned that won't entice a person to wanna make it work. I'm keeping it concise. If you solicit my advice, put tradition to the side. Don't have to treat them nice. In fact, permission is denied for them to think you'll fall in line. When logic is applied, the honest policy will show that Scientology's the guide. Few faces look surprised, but before you get concerned, let me tell you about my plan to teach the lesson they gon' learn. I see some newcomers at the door, down to take a stance, make some room. I pause and sip my water, offer up a chance to gather round, gather round. Gather round, gather round. Yeah, come close, guys. Quiet. Now I'm glad that we're awake and see the hate they all bring. And this would mean that you're escaping to that fate we all cling. Need that energy, my fingers make vibrating long strings. Cause you know I do my music thing and make guitar sing. Yeah, I try to be an artist, figure that's how they preferred me. Recorded a couple records, tried to prove that I was worthy. From the second that they heard me, got really hard to keep poised. even did a song with Dennis Wilson from the Beach Boys. Thought that move was mighty clever, taking on this new endeavor. But I quickly pieced together that they would pick me never. Real cutthroat, ain't hear a friendly remark. Told me, hey, it's just business, don't ever take it to heart. That's the spark, let the flame release, smoke into my chest. Then I puff, pass it to you, come be my guest. And I'll take you on a trip. Every drug that we ingest shows a vision so vivid that the truth will be expressed. And I'm making you believe it, and you really only need this bomb. Peeping every secret that they weave inside that Beatles song. You know, helter skelter, it's meaning we should embrace more. Listen close, it says that we're supposed to start a race war. It's so deep, a thirst for blood. Tell the killers, go eat. They didn't take the steps to get it started. Got cold feet, you know me. I'm down to move as if I'm in the mob. Either rob or make them soft. Guess I'm the man that's for the job. Plus, thinking about producers that would treat me like an unknown. They represent that sleazy type of treatment I don't condone. So payback will lead to civil unrest that we once shown. This plan will show you how you go kill two birds with one stone. A house on Cielo Drive, midnight you'll arrive. First you cut every phone line, then nobody leaves alive. Take the gun and the sharpest knife, making sure you use them. We must totally destroy everyone and make it gruesome. There should be no resistance, no one is standing guard. Secure the perimeter and shoot who's in the yard. See, residents don't know that this a residential tomb. Make your way inside and gather them into a single room. At this point to start the struggle and we'll probably go berserk. So tie them up and use a knot that tightens when they jerk. But you gotta keep your cool. Say this with a smirk. Just
tell them you're the devil there to do the devil's work.
From there it's up to you to determine just how they go. I would suggest a knife cause it's messy plus nice and slow. This your chance, get acquainted with rage you like to know. Find pleasure in your work, sit back, enjoy the show. With no witnesses, left to snitch, hearts no longer tick. Don't you clean, leave the scene just as it is and make them sick. Use their blood to write something on the wall or leave a sign. Our symbol all in red, the perfect message left behind. And it's one they can't ignore, won't forget about this gore. So sure that I swore this is kicking off a war. This one is for the family, so its name it will endure. Just follow and I'll leave, remember who you do this for. Gonna feel a different high, got you thinking that it's lace. Time to give a tour of hell, only cell that I embrace. And nobody better tell, but if I catch another case, one of you is stepping up to take my place. Making sure they gather round, gather round. Religion, disbelief, shows what's hidden, what's beneath. Every smile, there's a heart so cold you shiver in your seat. Cause we all got inner demons, darker thoughts that's so uncanny. But here that's all accepted, so welcome to the family.
So let's continue the conversation. By most accounts, Charles Manson had a rough childhood. He was a self-proclaimed street child. His mom had him at the young age of 16, and it's believed that she ran away because of a religiously strict upbringing. Charles did report that as a baby, his mom really did try to sell him to a waitress. He was left behind for a pitcher of beer, and his uncle actually had to come and get him and bring him home. As described during the story, Manson bounced around a lot, often staying in cheap motels with his mom. His life lacked stability and direction, so this left a void that he quickly filled with petty crimes. When he was 18, he was caught assaulting a boy at knife point, and he was sent away to a federal reformatory in Petersburg, Virginia, but there he continued to display the same behavior. Later in life, he began tapping into his ability to make young women fall in love with him. He would even end up pimping out a 16-year-old. He would never stop doing numerous crimes and would do time in prison. And it was there that he was introduced to Scientology and fell in love with writing music and playing the guitar. Once a free man, he would combine all of these things and begin to build his family of devout followers. Fueled by drugs and Manson's misguided prophetic songs, the cult grew and entered into their own reality. It's believed at one point there were 100 members in this family. It would all come to a head when Charles didn't find his ultimate success in the music industry. He wanted his followers to attack everyone at the home that he knew Terry Melcher owned. Terry was a producer and Charles hated him because he didn't give him a recording contract. This anger and his skewed perception of reality, which included him believing that a race war was needed, led to him saying that they must totally destroy everyone at this address. This would come to be known as the Tate murders. The victims that night was actress Sharon Tate, who was pregnant, and her 3 friends, a hairstylist, a screenwriter, and the heiress to the Folgers coffee empire. An 18-year-old young man who was the friend of the gardener also fell victim as he was leaving the residence. My deepest condolences to all the friends and family of the victims that lost their lives that night. After committing even more horrendous acts, the police would finally link the cult to the murders, and on March 29th, 1971, Charles Manson and some of his cult members would receive the death penalty. In 1972, the death penalty was no longer an option in California, so all of the sentences were changed to life in prison. Manson would pass away at the age of 83 on November 19th, 2017. But that's where I'm going to leave it for now. I hope you enjoyed today's story. And if you did, before you leave, make sure you do those things that make YouTube smile. Be sure to check out some of my other stories, and I hope to see you right here for the next one. But until then, be safe. Peace.